welcome once again to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight. I'm Catherine Nero. Thank you for joining us again. Before we get any further, subscribe, all that fun stuff so you can know when the latest episode of the Northern Kentucky Spotlight comes your way. Right now, of course, as always, Jeremy Schran, the Marketing and Communications Director for the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, is here joining in on the fun today. We got a lot headed your way. All right, title sponsor, we want to thank, as always, CVG. Thank you for sponsoring the Spotlight, as well as the L&N Federal Credit Union, our studio sponsor. And today in studio, we have a fair number of guests as well, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's not as big as last week, but we've got some great guests today. Pat Frew.
It's quality over quantity this time, right?
Pat Frew, the Covington Business Council, is going to be here to talk about some of the great stuff that's going on in Covington. Kristen Baldwin's going to stop in again and remind everybody that they need to get out and vote on Tuesday.
We need that reminder.
Get out there and vote. And then also Spike Jones, the former chief of Covington, and now the chief of Kenton County Police. He's going to come in and we're going to talk about the new concealed carry, constitutional carry laws.
It's interesting.
And all the legality that comes with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Some things you need to know if you plan on having a gun and carrying it anywhere,
right,
let alone outside of the state. All right, that stuff is coming your way next. And in fact, stick with us in just a bit. We're going to be talking about the great things happening in Covington right after this.
Sometimes life is hectic. Choosing a mortgage lender shouldn't be. The L&N 5-5 Mortgage offers competitive rates, no PMI, and up to 100% financing. That's a mortgage that comes with peace of mind. Whether you're purchasing a new home or refinancing, you'll feel right at home with L&N. We're local, trusted, and we'll be here for you even after your closing. Call 800-292-2905 and get started on your 5-5 mortgage. L&N Federal Credit Union. Welcome home.
And welcome back to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight. And right now we are talking with Covington Business Council with Pat Frew from the CBC. There are some incredible things happening in Covington, and that is what we're talking about today. Hello, Pat. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
I don't know that we can get through all that's happening in Covington in just a few short minutes, but tell us about some of the incredible things happening there.
Well, over the last several years, last 5 or 6 years, we've had over $200 million of investment in the downtown Main Strasse area. One of the biggest, newest projects that came out this week, the city is actually buying the YMCA building along with the Gateway Bookstore on Madison Avenue. That's primed to be a great development next to Hotel Covington, almost $1.7 million deal, and it's going to be exciting to see what goes in that space. But, you know, we have all kinds of other things going on. There are tons of things going on in Main Strasse right now with the John R. Green building coming out of the ground. River House, those condos, apartments around the corner are up and running. People are living in there. So a lot of great things happening. That's just kind of scratching the surface with some of our new projects. Riverfront Commons continues along the riverfront. That walkway that goes throughout the river cities should be up in the next year or so. Lots of great fun stuff, and then we don't even know what's happening in the IRS space. That's going to be the project that dominates the headlines.
You'll have to come back when you get some scoop on that and let us tip us a little bit.
Yeah, that will be great.
Do we have any idea what the gateway space is going to be?
No, well, there have been some rumors. You know, there's conjecture about will there be a residential component. I know the city wants it to be mainly things that can drive tax revenue, businesses in there. So I've heard some things I'm not at liberty to say, but I think it'll be great, and that news will probably be coming down the pike in the next several months, I would imagine.
The bottom line is that for a while, you know, if Covington kind of just like holding serve, it's really exploding, and all the new businesses and new apartments, as you said, you know, coming up down there.
Yeah, it is really exciting, and you know, the IRS property. You know, I think the consultant has from Atlanta that is advising the city has said, let's look at developers for the different blocks. Let's not put all our eggs in one basket. Which I think when that development happens, it's going to have a rich texture of different kinds of things, both residential and commercial, and it'll be very exciting.
So the CBC, you guys help organize all kinds of projects. Like to help the businesses and make Covington more beautiful. Tell us a little bit about some of
Right.
these.
Well, we have more than 100 events a year, and there are basically 3 of us at the CBC, so we do a lot with a little. But the flowers on Madison, we have 80 oversized planters on Madison between 3rd and 7th. Actually, it's now 8th. We extended it another block. A couple of weekends ago, we planted fall flowers there. So, it really does add to the making Covington an attractive place to do business, and that's really our mission, to actively promote and build a positive business environment in Covington. We're also involved, going back on the economic development front, we were able to help organize some funds so the city could redo their design standards at no cost to them, a $60,000 value. And we're coming together with other stakeholders in the community like Renaissance Covington, cities involved in this, Meet NKY and South Bank Partners, which were the other funders of this, to begin to prioritize some of these projects. One of the other things you're going to be seeing in the city that's a little less flashy than these other projects we talked about is the city is going to be expanding their streetscape a little bit further south on Madison Avenue, into 8th and 9th Streets, and a little bit further down, almost all the way down to where the diocese has all their buildings. So that's going to be exciting too. Some more trees, improved infrastructure there. So all good stuff.
And you also have events coming up.
Yeah, you said 100 a year. Let's.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah, boy, we could filibuster too. I could go through all of them. A couple that I'm going to mention. Our luncheon on November 21st is going to be great. It sounds kind of boring, but it's about the census and counting heads. And it's anticipated that 10 years ago, the city of Covington may not have counted all the people that it should have. And as a result of that, you lose federal funding if you don't do that. Some people estimate that Covington lost as much as $2.5 million a year because of that. Wow. So they've set up a committee to make sure that they count everybody. Homeless people, immigrants. Covington has a very people are always moving around in Covington. So it's a big job. It's not easy to do, and we're going to explore that and the importance of it and what it means to business. So that'll be November 21st. We're partnering with the Chamber that same night. We're having a social at the DeVue Park Clubhouse, the Golf House of the Country, the clubhouse there that evening from 5 to 7.
It's one of my favorites. I do enjoy it.
It is wonderful. It's a great place to golf, but it's a great place to meet, and they can accommodate up to a couple hundred people. So Jeremy will have to ask his friends to come, otherwise we won't get there, right?
We'll
people that owe you money, maybe. I don't know. So those are some of the neat things, and we also do hard hat tours of construction projects around the city, and then of course we have to have some liquid refreshment after that. So we have some good after hours, and we're going to be going through Innovation Alley and some of the new apartments next week that Tony Cruchans has built. So that'll be a lot of fun, and we'll go to Parlor on 7th after that. So
I don't.
Parlor's good.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've never
Parlor's
heard this.
really
They
good,
just had their tasting the other night.
Yeah.
So I want to, before you go, we got to talk about Blink a little bit.
Sure.
And the impact that it had on Covington, because I heard a lot of people say their favorite part of Blink was in Covington.
I would say, and obviously I'm not impartial, but I would say you got more for your money
Absolutely,
in Covington
yes.
because everything was closer together. Some of the projection was amazing. And while a lot of people were looking up at Blink, I was looking at street level because I saw more people at one time than I've ever seen in the streets of Covington. If you were over there, you saw people 3 and 4 deep on the sidewalks. Everybody got along. People kept their wits about them, even though they're saying now up to 1.5 million people.
Amazing.
If you were down there, it sure felt like more than 1.5 million.
I feel
people.
like we're talking about all these people. Our next guest is over there getting a little nervous.
Yeah.
Did you spend an hour on the Roebling Bridge like other people going
No,
across
thank
it?
you.
Yeah,
We had our small kids with us. We just stayed in Covington.
There's no roller coaster at Kings Island that would frighten me more than that. I'm going to tell you. But you know what else it did? It brought, who knows if it was 1 million people, but people into the city that maybe haven't seen the expansion and the business development that has been here.
I personally heard people while I was in Covington that were obviously from Cincinnati or Ohio, and they said, I've never been over here before. Mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, question of the month. It is Manufacturing Month.
Yes.
So, what is your favorite product that is made in Northern Kentucky or Kentucky if you have to go further. Maybe do one. We can do one Covington, one outside of Covington, or you can just stick to Covington if you.
Well, the one I really like, and he's not only a member of the CBC but also of the Northern Kentucky Chamber, is our friend Keith Bales and Moonrise Donuts. So,
yes.
2 thumbs up.
yeah,
Yes,
and
love those
he manufactures calories, unfortunately.
Yeah, he does.
But it's if you got to go, that's a great way to go. So, and he's getting ready to open up his second location. He has one in Latonia and a mystery location coming soon. So I think
wish
that's
we knew
going to be
where that
kind of
was.
regional. Yeah.
This might require some field research, as I like to say. Just to test
For
it out.
scientific purposes.
That's it. It's just
only,
we're on
so.
your side helping you guys out.
Yeah.
Pat, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And best of luck for all things happening in Covington.
Catherine, Jeremy, thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we have many headlines coming your way, including a couple from Covington. So stay with us here on the Northern Kentucky Spotlight. CVG Airport is the lowest fare airport in the tri-state region with 54 nonstop flights and direct international service to 7 destinations, including Paris, France, and now home to both DHL's and Amazon's global cargo hubs. The airport is furthering its position as leader in aviation and is deeply committed to being an economic driver for the community. You can learn more and start your next adventure at cvgairport.com. Welcome back to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight, and now it is time to talk about the Business Week in Review. And as we look back, we are also looking forward, kind of at the same time, and that's why Kristen Baldwin is here, Vice President of Communications and Public Affairs here at the Chamber. So we're going to take a quick look back, Kristen, at the gubernatorial debate on Tuesday, while also looking forward to Election Day next Tuesday. So you were there. Tell us all about it.
Well, special thanks to NKU and WLWT for hosting the last live debate of the election season between the 2 candidates for governor. Coming up, Election Day again is Tuesday, November 5th. The polls are open from 6 until 6, but standing room only crowd at NKU. Excited to have so many people there to follow along. A lot of hot topic issues. Sheree Polo started off with a bang. She asked about the where the candidates sit on the bridge, and then quickly positioned over into issues related that we were very excited to talk about, which are about pensions. She got in there a little bit about vaping and the issue of e-cigarettes for our youth, which is obviously a big issue for our youth these days and in the news. So I thought it was a great coverage, gave us in the spotlight. We've been talking about raising awareness about this election. I thought the debate did just that.
Yep. As we are looking to get elected next week, where can people find out more about the candidates?
So we have votenky.com is a new website we've created. It's a nonpartisan initiative that we've been working on with the different business communities to try to educate people about the election. So votenky.com tells you where to go for your voting, where you actually are going to vote, who's on the ballot. If you have to vote absentee, you need to get that done quickly. But then also just some other details of some FAQs.
I know I'm definitely one that's, you look at that ballot and you're like, what are these people? Who are
Yeah.
they doing? And then this makes it really easy to kind of be informed before you go.
There's
make
really
your
no
decision.
excuse once you go on the website. You
Yep.
see your ballot, you see your polling place, there's
Yeah, and
everything
it's,
you need.
It's awesome because you can see exactly how the ballot looks, which is nice.
So we had a
'cause that
couple,
doesn't.
I had a couple requests for our listeners, right? Okay, so the question we need to be asking everybody, what is your plan to vote? So, Jeremy, what's your plan to vote on Tuesday?
I'm going early.
And you going with your wife and your kids?
I'm going to probably go by myself because I don't have to take the kids because I'm up early enough.
All right,
Aha,
Catherine,
kids are
what's your
off.
plan to
My
go
wife
vote?
can take the
I
kids,
am
though.
going to my polling place, which is my church. I'm very excited about that. That's new. And I will take one of my kids who's off school, and she will vote in for Kids Voting Northern Kentucky. And so we'll be in and out, fortunately or unfortunately, pretty quickly. Hopefully there's good turnout.
Good
How
deal.
about you?
My husband and I will take our 6-month-old to go vote on Tuesday. We got a really cute future president onesie that you'll be
Perfect.
decked out in with some
Nice.
votes. And I'm going to be posting my I voted sticker. So it's a coveted I voted sticker. Make sure to post it to social media to show that you
off
voted.
That you did your civic duty.
Absolutely. It's easy enough. Kristen, thank you so much.
thank you, guys.
You know, Pat just was talking about the Covington, City of Covington
Yes.
voting to buy those gateway buildings. So again, $1.7 million, no word what it'll be, but we know
Exciting.
developers are involved. And so in that area, so again, that's at, Madison and Pike, like right there in the middle of all of that expansion. So we'll see. The one negative, if there is one in this, is that, Gateway went in with these grand notions of being this
Right.
big urban campus, and this is kind of reducing its footprint a bit, but progress will be made nonetheless there in the COV.
So NKU announces Success by Design's first 5 initiatives. It's the framework for focusing on student success. The 5 things are improving affordability, expanding a pipeline from preschool through high school and beyond, so that like not just like right out of high school into the school, starting off with those that preschool. Number 3 is make sure the co-curricular and real-world experience is integrated into education, and then to focus on community engagement through economic development and entrepreneurship and innovation. And they were all based on campus feedback.
And so the whole idea of this isn't a capital campaign to build a new building.
Right.
This is how are we going to help students succeed, graduate, and then have meaningful jobs. So those are the plans. The first 5, we'll see what happens next. Kentucky, once again, here we go, outpacing the nation in home sales. This was the second highest September on record. So this is the numbers from September. And in fact, the median home price is up almost 5% since last year. Homes are spending 13% fewer days on the market. So like we're under 100 days. And that all sounds good. Unless you need a house, and that's the problem. I mean, that's the construction is
seller's market.
Exactly, and so that's one of the issues.
They can sell your house, but we really hope you don't need to buy a house.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not going to be an easy trend, but we shall see. Yeah, like you said, seller's market, and this is against the national trend. By the way, the rest of the country is not doing nearly as well as Kentucky.
Yep. Let's see here. Horizon Community Fund. They handed out their $100,000 in the NKY Funders grants this week. It was a really cool event. They had to come in and pitch. The audience got to vote to choose who got the $7,500. But if you made a finalist, you got $5,000.
That's great.
A cool organization called the Carnegie that was.
Is that right, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Perhaps you've heard them here on the Northern Kentucky Spotlight.
Yeah.
And also, the Northern Kentucky Tribune Newsmaker Awards happened this week. The Tribune honored Rich Bainey, Karen Finan, Dr. Doug Floor, who was on last week's podcast, David Spalding, and Rhonda Whitaker, former Chamber Board Chair. So congratulations to each and every one.
Rhonda Whitaker Hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, we have a new last name.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Rhonda.
She's actually really trying to push that new last
Okay,
name.
good.
Yeah. Now it's time for my chamber roundup.
Here we go. We need music.
Yeah, I just said I'm gonna build a sound effect next time so Ben can push that button when we get to this point. But we gave out some community awards last week. We gave one to Michael Monks from the River City News and Judy Claves from the Tribune, both for all their tireless work they do to try to cover the news for Northern Kentucky. I know we sometimes talk about being a news desert over here on this side of the river.
Make sure you check out Michael's coverage of the debate. Michael had great coverage of the debate on Tuesday night, was there all night covering it, and he'll have some great election coverage coming up on Tuesday night as well.
Yep, and obviously we had the Tribune's huge thing on Wednesday, so they're both rock stars and trying really hard to make Northern Kentucky or help Northern Kentucky. Also, we have guess what? A ton of ribbon cuttings coming up.
Do we now?
Yeah,
we always do. That's a good thing.
One of the big ones that you do not want to miss is next week at the new Panera, the same day as Election Day. The ribbon cutting will be at 2:00, but this is one of those things where you can go overnight and wait in the crowd of people and get free Panera.
Okay.
Our very own Drew McDonald, before we hired him, got contracted to go there and kind of hype up the crowd because it's near NKU. It's in Cold Springs, but it's on Alexandria Pike, so it's like pretty close to the campus. So they're expecting a lot of college kids to come and try to get that free Panera. I mean, if I was a college student,
that's a dream if you're a college kid.
Yeah, when they open the Raising Cane's over there, the same kind of thing. They have all these college students lined up.
I love the guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, it'll be a fun event.
Free Panera for a year.
And that Covelli Enterprises, who runs all our local Paneras, this is going to be their 6th Panera that they've opened lately. So I mean, they're remodeling them and opening it. And like I just had Panera yesterday at the one over here.
And we were live at a Panera just a couple of weeks ago.
The same one we were live at. Then next week we have one really kind of big event that's the Metworking, and it's presented by the Northern Kentucky Chamber and the Cincinnati Chamber, so it's a co-event, and it's moderated by Nanette Polito.
Looks good.
Yeah, whatever. She's really great. She's a success coach, and it's going to be all about. It's got a really great panel that's going to talk about how to network and give you some tips. And it's got my good friend David Kay from PNC Bank on there, Kendra Ramirez, who's been on the podcast before. So that'll be a great event. The other big thing that's happening next week. It's a little too late to register for it, but the Grease Trip starts next.
Nice.
The 9th, the Saturday. So if you missed out on that, if you're going on it, you're going to have so much fun. It's the best networking event that we offer because you get to go to Greece to do it. But if you missed that one, next year's trip is going to be in Spain.
Nice. Okay.
So start saving your money now. You can put deposits. We're taking deposits now, but that Spain trip is going to be one that you're gonna get to see a lot of really cool stuff.
Perfect.
But that is
Well, there you go. You are
this
caught
week.
up on all headlines in Northern Kentucky. But stay with us because we're going to be talking with Kenton County Police Chief Spike Jones about the new constitutional carry law in Kentucky and what you need to know about it. So stay with us.
Did you know the Northern Kentucky Chamber can help celebrate your business's grand opening, reopening, or new location with a ribbon cutting? To take advantage of this member benefit, contact the Chamber at 859-578-8800 and ask for Lynn Ablin.
And welcome back to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight. We are putting a spotlight right now on Kentucky's new gun laws. And of course, Spike Jones, the Chief of Kenton County Police, is here to tell us all about it. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Okay, so we need to talk about this because this is something that affects anyone who might want to carry a gun. So explain first of all, because as of July, Kentucky became a constitutional carry state. What does that mean
Sure.
exactly?
Prior to that, we had a concealed carry permit provision. You would go out, you'd receive some training, 8 hours training, familiarize yourself with a weapon. Well, now currently, you can carry a concealed weapon or firearm for the most part, that's what most people are going with, without that permit. And there are some restrictions that go along with that when considering going out of state and so forth.
And that's kind of the issue. Okay,
Sure,
so
yeah.
I mean, a lot of us bebop around state to state a
Sure.
lot. So if you do not need a concealed carry permit now, what does it mean for, let's say, I want to drive into Ohio to go to work in Cincinnati?
Sure.
And if I have that gun.
Well, if you're carrying constitutionally here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, you're fine. But when you cross the state line and go into, say, Ohio or Indiana, completely different story. So you need to be very aware of the laws in Ohio, which they do require a permit and 8 hours training. Now, they have a reciprocal agreement with Kentucky that if you have the Kentucky permit, you can carry into Ohio. So I just tell people as close as we are here in the tri-state,
Yeah.
you know,
It could-
just as a matter of safety for yourself, kind of some self-insurance, get the permit and get the 8 hours
Yeah,
training.
we were talking before this, like,
Yeah.
sometimes we'll be going to Newport from here,
Yeah.
and cross the river and come back, and what if
Sure.
you hit a fender bender and
Yeah.
you get in a lot of trouble. This new law, what does it mean for the employers? I know it can kind of get a little
I know it's kind of a tough, murky question you're
Yeah.
asking me, but I had time talked with our county attorney Stacy Tapke earlier about it, and she kind of agrees with me. As in all things, if you're an employer. Consult your attorney. Consult your attorney. Inform policy around that. Find out what you can do and can't do on your property, and actually form company policy around that and stick to it. And also inform your employees of what that specific policy is, so that they're very aware. Again, that's kind of an employer-employee question to address.
Yeah.
And I think really consulting their attorney is probably their best option on this.
Is this one of those situations where it's just saying, okay, I don't need a permit, that's not clearance to go anywhere you want to with this firearm? That's what people might not understand.
And that's a great point. I mean, as before, you can't carry into a school, you can't carry into a courthouse. Those buildings that were prohibited before are still prohibited to carry in. This just allows you to carry the concealed weapon without that permit or that training that was previously required.
But you think that training, like you said, do it
I
anyway.
think any training's valuable.
Yeah.
When it comes to something, a firearm especially, I think any training you can get is valuable.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that kind of brings us to our next little point there. It's like, even if you're not going to go out of the state, even if you're like, I never crossed that river once, it's still...
It doesn't hurt.
Right.
It doesn't hurt. Constitutional carry is a great thing. It doesn't hurt to have that training, though.
Right.
So if we wanted to go get that training, to get the permit, what do we do? Who do we contact?
Well, there are a number. In order to get the permit, you contact your county sheriff.
Okay.
Our sheriff here in Kenton County, great guy, Chuck Korsenborn. He takes care of all of that as far as getting the permits, getting them out to folks, doing the background checks, making sure that you qualify to carry that firearm. Because there are some people that simply don't qualify to carry a firearm, period. And those folks need to be vetted out before they start carrying one. But go to your county sheriff. They'll take care of it. I know Sheriff Helmig in Boone County, same thing. Great fella. So they'll
I know a
take care of
family
you.
who did this as a group activity, a family activity.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 generations, they just
Yeah.
said, okay, we're all going to go take the training. We're all going to get concealed carry
My
permits.
mom and dad did it together.
That makes sense, though. If you're going to learn together, ask the same questions and you know how to properly use and store a firearm as well.
Absolutely.
All right, so Chief, Jeremy's got the big
Yes,
question for
question.
you.
Yeah, I've been
Fun.
waiting on this one.
Favorite product made in Northern Kentucky,
There-
or Kentucky if you have to.
Well, there's so many, and that's not really a softball question either. That's kind of a tough one. But I'm going to have, being from Covington, I'm going to have to go with Geta.
It's a good one.
Plain and simple.
That is a really good one.
Clear as Geta. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, if we could just get together all of the food products mentioned for the answer to this question, that would be one heck of a Kentucky meal.
I don't know if we could make it out.
From
of here.
Airheads to Braxton
They'd
beer
have to
to
bring in some Kentucky branded wheelchairs.
that's all. That's all we
You
need,
could have a Geta
man.
main course and a moonrise donut.
Yeah, you can have
dessert
just
course.
sandwiches, Uncrustables. We've had it all. We've had it all. So yeah,
No, I'm
excellent.
hungry.
Donut, get a sandwich.
Okay, Ben is suggesting a donut, get a sandwich. Listen, Tom and She has done this with the grilled cheese donut, which is delicious. I like it. I
I'm all
like it.
in.
The donut, get a sandwich. We're going to call Moonrise right now
I'm all in.
With the bourbon cream.
with the bourbon cream.
Perfect.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank
Chief,
you,
for
Catherine.
joining us. We appreciate it, and especially answering questions about a law that a lot of people either didn't realize or don't understand completely. All right, we've got lots coming your way. Is it next week? Are we off next week
Yeah,
or the
no.
following week?
Next week we are here next week, but the following week we're not here. So next week
Because
we're gonna
somebody's
kinda
going on
have a-
vacation,
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking
All
about
right.
eating too much. I can't wait. Anyways, next week's episode is going to be kind of a double episode. We're going to have 4 guests.
Oh, nice.
Lori Pierce. She is an amazing caterer. Lula's for lunch. and
Okay,
more.
yeah.
She's going to come in and talk about some holiday cooking tips.
Perfect.
Which should be fun. Katrina Brown Thomas from NKCAC is going to come in. We also have Tarita Preston, who she's going to be the speaker at the next Women's Initiative Professional Series.
Okay.
And then we also have some people from People Working Cooperatively going to come in and kind of tell us about their mission and what they've got going on. So it will be a jam-packed show.
Excellent.
It'll be extra great.
And get you ready for
Yep.
that. We're already talking holidays. Can you
Yep,
imagine?
yep.
All right. Well, thank you to all of our guests today, to our title sponsor, CVG, our studio sponsor, the L&N Federal Credit Union, Pat Frew earlier from the Covington Business Council, Spike Jones for all the information about the new gun laws, to Kristen as well for telling us about Vote NKY, to Ben Gastright for coming up with the Get a Donut. I mean,
Yeah.
really, that's his greatest contribution. The technology is awesome, but that's the key part.
Except for it keeps us live on the internet. But
I
yeah.
don't know. The Get a Donut's a really
Yeah.
good idea. So thank you guys for joining us as well. And thanks to Jeremy for putting all of this together. But again, subscribe on wherever you listen to your podcast, all the podcast places. Like us on Facebook. Share us when you can so we can get out all the great information about this area.
See you next week.
See ya.